Okay, I got 7 o'clock. This is the Town of Farmington Town Board meeting for April 14th, 2026. Following the meeting order, we have all our board members here except Councilman Matt Guilfoyle, who's necessarily absent. And those of you that can rise, we'd like to have Don Drew lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Don. The first item on our agenda is the privilege of the floor. We have Victoria here, Emerson, and we have been working with Civic Plus to upgrade our website. And so she's got a short presentation that we'll go through here for not only the rest of the town board and
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Victoria Emerson. I'm an account executive for Civic Plus for the state of New York. So really what that means, I get to interact and work with local government across the state. Supposed to be 5 days a week, sometimes it's 6 days a week. But nevertheless, I really appreciate the opportunity to work with Farmington. We have collaborated on this project, really past 6 months or so. So this is not something that simply popped up recently. This has been an ongoing discussion. Forgive me, the slides are a bit small, so hopefully everyone can see. We'll start with really introducing our team, who we are, what we do, why we do it, and how the conversation came about with Farmington. And then we'll leave time for questions. So definitely want to let you all have the opportunity to ask any questions about our work or accessibility, which we'll see pop up during this presentation quite a bit. All right. So why are we here and why are we talking about the website and the state of the website as it stands today? Historically, websites for local government municipalities have been billboard sites. They have been really to function for 2 reasons, right? To either find information or to complete a task. And that has become increasingly more and more difficult to do when we have topics such as security, ADA compliance, usability, right? And so we see themes of that on this slide here. Duplicate effort to complete a task, having usability from a mobile view on the site. The accessibility score, which we'll get to, is a 62% based on what the DOJ is expecting. So there's some improvement we can make there as well. And then, of course, sort of just looking at the back end of the CMS, not only that constituent experience, but what is the staff dealing with to keep the website up and running, and how much time is that taking from other tasks? So these are all things that we will sort of allude to throughout the presentation. Did anyone have questions about any of these items that I have listed up here or mentioned? Did I miss anything? Okay, excellent. So just to introduce Civic Plus and give a little bit of background, we actually work with over 12,000 clients at present day, 12,000 different municipalities across the country. Of the 62 counties in New York State, we are partnered with 38 of them. We work with tons of villages, towns, and cities across the state. Our client retention rate is something that we take pride in because it's not just, hey, let me give you these promises and talk about a shiny new website. What does that partnership look like after the signature? So customer support is really important to us. With 340 million users across the country, mainly in the Northeast, typically folks are interacting with Civic Plus and they might not even know it. They might be submitting a FOIL request. Perhaps they are signing their child up for camp. Maybe they are using software to search through local code. These are all things that we support local government in our efforts to really make an impact. We have been doing this for 25 years, so a quarter of a century, and we started in Manhattan, Kansas. We now have stretched across the country and really made an impact who are we? Most of us are made up of previous folks that worked in government. The majority of our staff, previous clerks, IT directors, we do have folks that worked as PIOs, communications. So we have used this knowledge to really make our software, make it make sense. So that's something that we also like to talk about as well. I'm going to go over and shift gears here to talk a little bit about ADA compliance. Now, historically, ADA compliance has been brought up, and we think of it as something that impacts our building departments or really our physical infrastructure throughout the town. Where we have seen this shift is, what does it mean to navigate not only physical infrastructure? So if we're using a wheelchair and we need a wheelchair ramp, right? Or we need guardrails, or we need an elevator. We require mobility assistance. What does that look like when we're using the website and we have cognitive delays, or we have visual impairments or auditory disabilities? How are those folks also accessing the website? Because what the DOJ has let out is it is a requirement to not have a barrier of entry when we are needing to access services that are present on the website. This could be simple as looking up an agenda for board meeting. This could be perhaps looking for housing information, a job application, responding to a bid. So these could potentially also be revenue producing activities that folks are being left out from accessing. I give a simple example here of alt text. So if I'm using a screen reader or I have a visual impairment, how can I process the information that is on this slide? How can I understand what this photo is? So it's a photo of someone in a wheelchair. So really just a description text for me to be able to process that information. Why is this significant? Well, New York State led accessibility lawsuits last year. Dating back to 2023, we actually saw the highest amount of lawsuits for web accessibility ever. So we have had them go down since then, but 2023 was the height. We hope that some of this going down is due to folks being aware, this being a topic of conversation at conferences and really more at the federal and state level. We've had quite a few states step in to bring this federal guidance to the state. 28% of the US population has one or more disabilities. So it might be a disability you can't see, it might be your neighbor, it might be a colleague, right? So this is why we talk about the significance in terms of the website. In the town of Farmington, on the national average, 4,100 residents that have one or more disabilities, and this is where that barrier of entry comes to play. Now, when we talk about the legal landscape, this guidance came out in 2024. We are now 2 years later in April of 2026. The first round of legislation is up, so populations over 50,000 across the country have to abide by the DOJ standards. This is a long list. It's very granular, down to color contrast, the size of a photo, duplicate links, misspellings, college reading level versus 7th grade reading level, right? So there's a lot of things the DOJ will be looking for. And we're not just concerned for our local governments because this is an unfunded mandate. We're concerned because there are advocacy groups, rightfully so, right, that are going to be supporting this mandate. There are also, I'll be honest, there are folks that, are more the ambulance chasers or folks that are looking to make a quick buck. And they also follow this legislation as well and can be a threat to our municipalities. And then also it's the right thing to do. So we have the legality, and we also have like the moral and ethical side of things of, we want folks to be able to interact with our websites and access services, especially since COVID and really in the last decade, we've seen website traffic a lot higher than historically folks coming in the office. This does not mean we don't want folks to still come in the office. We still need that human interaction. This is just a way that, hey, if I'm working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, do I really have time to go in? Like, if my work schedule is crazy, I like the convenience of accessing something on my town website. A couple other notes here, Colorado and Virginia took similar bills from this federal guidance and went state level. There is pending legislation in New York, right now that has not come out yet. Unsure if that will come out this calendar year, but we do follow those types of things as a vendor, so we like to keep our municipalities up to date on these legislation, changes. What does this mean and why does this matter from a civic cost standpoint, and for Farmington? So we do cover your ADA compliance needs, your accessibility needs. This is something we stand for on your current site. And this is also really an undertone of why we started the conversation. So there are various things that we will cover. We also have VPAPs for all of our solutions, which really just means that out of the gate, we are providing you with software that has gone through pretty rigorous accessibility audits. So who do we partner with? We partner with tons of folks across the state. I listed here just some clients that might be familiar. Your neighboring county, Wayne County, Town of Ontario, Ontario County, of course, Henrietta. So there's Victor, there's tons of folks that we are supporting with their accessibility needs, their website needs, and various other needs within your municipality. Wanted to give a quick before and after. This Wood County, they're actually in they're on the far side of Virginia, so they're down south. The reason I wanted to give a peek of this is some of the elements within Wood County reminded me of the website for Farmington today. This is after the redesign. One thing we focused on in all of our sites, we focus on is having that mobile access. Most folks are accessing their municipal websites from a tablet or phone. And so this makes it really practical to ensure that that can be used. We can see forms, we can make payments, all of those fun things. So again, before for Wood County and after, this is the town of Farmington today. Notice here some cutoff buttons here, not really scaling to the screen and amongst some other visual things, but we hope to on top of everything else also work with a little bit more of a modern design for the town and really to tell the town's story a bit better. I won't go through this in depth. This has to do with our platform. Again, I mentioned we work off-departmentally. So we are covering projects with our communications teams. We work with our clerk's office very regularly. We also have a historically more siloed department, Parks and Rec. We actually have a Parks and Rec solution as well that we exist with that integrates with our other tools. So if this is something in the future, we could actually potentially provide Farmington with some cost savings there. And then our infrastructure approaches, so utility billing, asset management, ComDev. So we think fire, life safety inspections. I know we are happy with iWork, so we'll leave that there, but we integrate and we welcome iWork to our website as well. That's something that not everything needs to be under the Civic Plus umbrella. We welcome your other systems onto our website platform. And then, of course, the resident portal, which does allow residents to log in and access all of this from one place, which is really neat and it's really the direction that the market is going in across the different municipalities that I showed on the previous slide. This is the direction they're going in. And really, this is what residents are wanting as well. They don't want to go to one portal to get emergency notifications, somewhere else to file a FOIL request, and then somewhere else to apply for a permit, right? That should be in one place. I notated here the two solutions that this package covers. And of course, there's room to grow. Over the years, we do take more of a partnership approach versus taking a back seat and just sliding you some software and giving you a robot to take you from there. We do like that personal relationship. So working with your team, coming on site to visit, making sure that you're included in various conferences and lunch and learns that we host in the region. Okay. In terms of your team, unfortunately, And then Amanda Wright is our implementation director. She's phenomenal. She oversees the successful implementation for all of our projects. Stephen Kiernan is our Eastern Communications Director, formerly a resident of New York State for 25 years. Josh Didhart is our Vice President of Experience Sales, though he is our VP. He'll hop on a call day out anytime. He's always just a call away. So they're not too far from sort of the top of our team there. One fun thing about Josh, he actually did used to work at Granicus, which is our primary competitor in the industry for 5 years. Joe Lyon, we had the pleasure when we went through various demonstrations and evaluations for this project. Joe helped us lead those demonstrations and worked on the strategic approach for back end access and such. So he's been a part of the project as well. Really all I have for today. I would like to open it up for questions, just in the event that we have questions about content, what's included in the package, or contracting. Happy to answer those.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
On board questions? Staff? John?
So,
short
there
answer.
would be, each department would have a link, if they wanted to find information that related to the highway department, who would update that? Do we provide that information to you and then you put it on, or do you show us how to submit that and then it just gets approved, or how does changes work?
So I think that depends on each municipality, right? So everyone's a little bit different in terms of workflow. We want to meet where you're at. So if you feel comfortable, like you have someone in your department and you want to be uploading content daily, a couple times a week, that's something you want access to. We do welcome and encourage that actually to have department involvement. We do typically run it through someone for approval, right? So might that be Marcy or someone to make sure that everything looks good, it's sticking with branding, it's appropriate, there's no misspellings or anything like that, just having that second set of eyes. But absolutely. Are you looking to be more involved with content updating, or did you want to take a back seat?
Well, I just didn't know how that worked, if it was all gonna be in like the one office and we'd submit it here, or if it's up to the department heads. I didn't know how it worked on your end on that, so.
Again, it depends on, we have some municipalities we work with that have like really one person that's doing everything because they don't have the staff. And then we have other localities that you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. They've got like 25 people that are trying to content update. So somewhere in the middle there, I think is a happy middle there. But yeah, either way, whatever you prefer. And during implementation, we will have different sessions with each department. We were just talking about this with one of your departments, happy to meet with you and decide from a consultative standpoint what makes most sense.
It's just for the public. When we started, our current website was 2009, and it basically was Marcy, I, and Michelle. And then we educated the other departments to kind of do their own page on the website. And then as people changed, we lost that history, and it ended up being Marcy, Michelle, and me sometimes. This is Marcy and Michelle. So we definitely want to, each department trying to have their own control over their information. And long range will probably put in the budget in 27 or 28 and have somebody at least part-time that's all they do, but Facebook, website, public information, all that stuff.
Okay.
Package, we do have training set aside for each department, head, and so we'll be able to work with you one-on-one to learn your area of the website and feel comfortable with posting content as well. And the goal is that you want to get more out to your residents, right? And folks want to absorb that information, so absolutely. Yep.
So I see one of your clients is the town of Chili. Do you work with Chris over there?
I don't cover that account. That would be one of our account managers, but yes, our client.
It's a very well done website.
Excellent. I like it. They do a great reference.
Yeah, so when we were doing research, we went to a lot of different municipalities' websites, and Victoria already mentioned some, but Yates County, Wayne County, City of Canandaigua, City of Geneva, Victor, Town of Victor, Town of Henrietta, Charlie, Arundecoit, and Brighton all use their service. Yeah, we did get a second quote from another company, less money. Presentation to Aubrey, Marcy, us, we're like, yeah.
100%. 100%.
In public, any questions?
I love public questions. Does anyone have anything? Yes, ma'am.
Is this website, can you feed into social media from this website? Yeah. Is that something we would be doing?
Again, we're just learning to
Okay.
get into this.
What are you mean, are you looking to access social media pages that are set by the town from directly from the website?
So if you post something on the town website, and you wanted it to feed out to Facebook and Instagram and whatever, you would
There's
be able
a-
to send out that same feed to those other social medias?
Yeah, there's a if you call it notify me, it's a notify me module, and it allows you to push out that information. Yeah.
So for example, if there was an emergency alert, this would be the format that go on.
Yep, and emergency alerts, so I wanna be careful, there's a.
Right, I mean, I don't wanna say emergency
Yeah,
alert, but for example, our water situation that we had just recently, with the certain areas that affected.
There's a
this
water
area.
being great,
Yes.
water, so
Yes.
boil water advisory. That's a very common, so the website includes a couple ways to notify folks. We have a banner image that goes across in red, you cannot miss it. And that's gonna let you know any activity that's happening that day that is pertinent information you need to be aware of. And then we also have categories for you to sign up. So if you would like to receive text or emails about a specific event, whether it be weather or boil water advisories, et cetera, that would go out as well. But the idea is that if a boil water advisory went out and was affecting certain areas within the town, there would be that banner, and then that would message out to the different platforms of social media as well. So you'll see it both on the website and, which I don't think you're seeing that on the website today.
Cause it was like, it was kind of a weird area. So,
Yeah, so also water and sewer, Aaron explained, you just, within the last 30, 45 days, you.
Yeah, we
new
just,
feature also.
we just added a module to our billing software that'll allow us to use the information that you folks give us for billing. And we can turn around and do a reverse call, if you will, in email or text form, to reach out to you and try to get information to you. We haven't had an event that we've had to use it for. Thank you, Katie. But we do have the capability now, and that was in response to the boil water advisory. We realized that we and a lot of others, not including just ourselves, were a little deficient in being able to get the information to you. So this is an attempt to get better at that, but this sounds like another way. The more ways we can do it, I think the better for emergency situations like that.
And then the sheriff's office also promotes their sign up. Through the messages from the sheriff's office.
That's what I want to be careful about. So anything like an Amber Alert or Blue Alert, anything like that would come from the county, come through like iPods. So we would not support that on this platform. But oil water advisory or, power outage, something like that, definitely.
You go.
So if we were to have alerts on the website, the residents input their own data onto the website and tag what they wanted alerts for.
If you'd like, there is a self-serve option. I'll share that.
So then the town employees wouldn't need to be doing all the legwork. It could be a banner that, hey, load your information if you want this data.
Yeah, there's an area, the time to show. So there's an area, where you can sign up for categories and it's automatic and you put your email and your phone number and, there's nothing beyond that that you need to put in. Like address or anything like that. Cause sometimes there's folks that are living in other communities, but maybe mom and dad live here and they wanna stay updated with what's almost going on. So, we have that option for folks to sign up for those different categories. Sometimes there's like a supervisor newsletter of the month or, you know, events going on or holiday, there's fun ones as well. It's not all emergency with boil water advisory, but, yes, that is a self-serve option to take that sort of burden, give some more time back into Marcy's day, to Michelle's day, yeah.
John?
How long from like if it's submitted until it's uploaded? Cause like, just for example, like with that boil and water advisory, or for myself being the highway, if we're gonna do work on a certain road, you know, put it out, be like, okay, I know this morning that we're gonna be out here doing a certain road project and a section of road's gonna be closed down, you know, put it up there that we're doing work in this area on this date. How long does it take to get uploaded to the website?
It's gonna go up immediately as soon as you
Perfect.
save it. If you're future proofing it, so if you know, like, hey, these roads are gonna be closed
Right.
next month. You know, you can save that as well and have it set for a 24-hour period.
No kidding.
Typically for office closures, we recommend like the first week in January, go ahead and set those up for the year, so we know which days, town office is gonna be closed. We can't predict snow, right, but those types of things, if it happens and you're at home and, say it's a Sunday and you don't know what Monday's gonna look like, it might be icy, you can simply upload that on your cellular device, you have access.
No kidding.
Depends on who you have set up for controls, but yeah, instantly you do that.
That's cool.
You'd let us know the day before.
Right, yeah, no, I mean, sometimes like certain, like I don't necessarily want to put it up the day ahead of time. But like, cause you know, when you're doing the top coat of a road, if it's gonna be heavy rain, you can't put that down. So if it ends up turns out to be, okay, well, I have it scheduled tentatively for Tuesday, but if it's a rain day, you know, we might not be doing it, so it might get pushed to Wednesday kind of thing.
And then they can click on it, and then you can write like more paragraph for further details if they like to see that.
It's really cool.
Any other questions?
Ontario County Planning uses this for applicants for their, planning board and zoning board. And recently they were hacked. Some of the applicants received bills looking like they were from the planning for thousands of dollars. Was that an issue through civic planning or civic plus, or was that an issue through?
I don't know if, so I'm not familiar with their planning and zoning boards, and if that's something.
It was Ontario County Planning, even like here, their building department will send out things through civic, through this for their upcoming meetings. And I know some of the applicants who had upcoming, things, whether it was for the town or the county, they received bills, actually, someone is here who received a bill for it, and it was thousands of dollars that they received, and it was inaccurate, and it was someone posing as the county.
Yep.
Billing her.
Yeah,
So I didn't know if that was someone hacking into civic,
I'll
or if that was someone hacking in.
That's more of the reason to partner with Civic Plus because of those situations, right? So, I don't know if that is a separate software, like, we have 14 solutions at Civic Plus. What we're talking about today is the website. Ontario County uses the website, but they have other applications on their website. So there can be layers of different products, so that could definitely be related to another one. I think I would have been made aware of that. That was a Civic Plus alert issue.
I wasn't sure, so.
Yeah, a couple things about security, and let's talk about that, because that's really important, especially around election time, whether it be federal, state, or local elections. Municipal websites see a lot more traffic through their website. Folks are going there. Sometimes that traffic can be from other countries. So that's something that we monitor through what we call DDoS protection. And it's really just an extra layer of protection to ensure that traffic is monitored, we can block certain, things that we might see as, not in New York State, not relevant. Typically, we would know about that before Farmington would know and we would alert you. We do have 99.99% uptime for our website. That is really hard to obtain in the website world. 100 is not, you can't advertise to have 100, that's not attainable. Yeah, security, folks choose us for security. We partner with places like Albany, Syracuse, like larger organizations that do choose Civic Plus for security purposes. So that's a really great question, and thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think what we saw from the Farmington residents that had planning board or zoning board actions here at the town is it was very easy for somebody to either look at the county applications or the town minutes and they grab the email addresses. So now we don't include any email addresses in our PRC minutes or our planning board, zoning board minutes. We just list the name of who we're sending the minutes to, not the emails, because that could have been one way that they reached out. They saw an application at the town, and went to the county.
They do a great job, because they even have like a Harvey's name on it.
Yeah, and they just baked everything. So I'm aware of at least 4 customers in Farmington, including the Farmington Fire Department, that recently got an email asking for $5,000 or $10,000.
Big dollar amounts.
I got another one, just,
Oh, did you?
yeah, I've got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It still comes out every time.
Yeah, nothing like that would ever be from Civic Plus. If anything, we would be looking to monitor and prevent a situation like that from happening. So that's a great flag. Anyone else?
Great. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Right.
We will have a resolution at the end of the meeting to adopt Civic Plus. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing, establishing a 6-month moratorium on accessory structures is defined and regulated in chapter 165 of the town code on the farming. Any comments on that? Okay, Michelle, yes, thank you. The official legal notice.
Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the town board of the town of Farmington on the 14th day of April 2026 at 7 p.m. Farmington Town Hall, 1000 County Road 8, Farmington, New York, regarding the adoption of a local law of the town of Farmington for the year 2026 entitled "A Local Law Establishing a 6-Month Moratorium on Accessory Structures as Defined and Regulated in Chapter 165 of the Town Code of the town of Farmington." Any resident of the town of Farmington shall be entitled to be heard upon said proposed local law at such public hearing, and copies of said proposed local law are available for review at the Farmington Town Hall, 1000 County Road 8, Farmington, New York, or the town's website. This by resolution of the town board of the town of Farmington.
Thanks, Michelle. Anybody this time? Any comments? It's public hearing? Yes, just anybody wants to speak, just name and address for the town clerk.
My name is John Taylor, excuse me, and I live at 449 County Road 8 here in Farmington. I came across this local law, proposed local law, just last week. Didn't realize it was going into effect, and my wife and I have just moved here. We're planning on putting up an accessory structure that is a 30 by 32 foot garage, essentially, for storage of my lawn equipment. And it looks to me like this moratorium is going into effect and will prevent me from applying or getting a building permit approved for 6 months, which takes us into, I think, October. Way too late to begin a construction project for a garage. So that kind of takes me out of storing a boat and putting my lawn equipment in a garage. it's kind of upsetting to me. I don't know the background on all this. I don't know why there's a proposed moratorium. I don't see any information. Maybe it's on the website somewhere. Sorry, I'm new at this. I don't understand why this is happening. So, I guess it would be nice to know. That's one thing I'd like to say. And another thing is, it appears to me like, what's in the local law seems to be, contradictory in that you can still apply for a variance. I'm guessing that the clause that says you can still apply for a variance is just in there for those people that have something that is included in the exceptions to the law. Maybe that's I don't understand that. So, I guess those are my comments. I don't know if there's a back and forth during this time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I was sure.
Hayden first and then Ron.
So the background of why we're going this route. So there are numerous points in our code, town code around accessory structures that are unclear as far as there's no criteria for the zoning board of appeals or the planning board to approve or deny applications because there's no criteria to be checking it against. There was a lot there. So as far as what will be on hold during this moratorium, so there are some exceptions, and those exceptions are what's clearly identified in our code. We identified those off of memory. It's accessory structures 300 square feet or less that have a non-combustible floor in the rear yard with a 5-foot setback. 15 feet tall. 15 feet tall.
I think it's busted.
Yep, and then there's also a approval for a private garage up to 800 square feet with a non-combustible floor. Yep. And again, rear property, 15 feet tall, 5 feet from property lines. So that was our effort to try to minimize the impact, as we understand it's not a great time, but there's never a great time, you know.
Why the 6 months, I guess? This just seems like a big chunk of time for me, especially because I'm trying to.
Yeah.
keep
So
up with
the
this.
6 months is the maximum. So our goal is to get this moving as fast as possible. That's, you know, we want to get it going. 6 months is, you know, worst case scenario. Yeah, we're really hoping for less. Yeah.
So what?
Let's just let Ron finish and then we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
The plan is to, so certainly not really, plan is to not go the full 6 months, and just giving ourselves some time. But they're already they've been working on the updates before this is put in place. To really clarify the commitment, because there's, so the distinction between the pole barn and the private garage, the sheds, it's just, a lot of it is unnecessarily complicated, and we're trying to streamline.
So it's just coming up with those specifications that allow you to make those determinations. Is that what it is? So it's clarified in it makes it easier for you to say, hey, this is outside of the code. Outside of the code.
Exactly.
You have any question?
I was trying to understand, so it's the terminology and clarification of what's a garage, what's a shed, and what's
Okay.
a.
You just state your name for the town.
Sammy Stigler, 5796 Mount Hash Drive. So it's the clarification of what's a garage, what's a shed, and what is
And a little more complicated than that, plus what's authorized within the different zoning districts we have.
based on his question of the moratorium, so you're in the process already, so therefore you're hoping to get it lifted within the 6 months to allow people to build.
Yeah.
We can add it
And then,
many times once the code is.
On the approval process.
Yeah, the 6 month period has built into it a referral period to the county planning board. And the scheduling of public hearings. It also provides time for the town board to understand what is being proposed And if they're satisfied with that, to move forward with a scheduled public hearing. It's a process that requires us to look at a lot of things that right now haven't been problems, but are beginning to become problems. And we want to, as you say, nip it in the bud before it gets out of control. We have started working on it. We've looked at a number of other municipalities, how they've addressed this issue. One of the major problems is that one size doesn't necessarily fit all. So it has to be looked at differently than what it has been in the past, and we intend to do that.
Adrian, you have something?
Yeah. You know, Adrian Bosco, Guy 40 Volts Road. I mean, just so you know, this isn't new. We've known about this over the winter. Now they want to do it during construction season for all of us. So we're all being handcuffed right now in the building for the construction season, just like he said. So, and I already voiced my opinion about that a couple weeks ago. So we already kind of thrown them in the bus for us to want to build right during construction season. When there was time during the winter to work on this, so. Make sure everybody knows that.
I just want to add to that individual that just spoke did have an application and he withdrew it. Okay, so we're working on the application. We were working towards a solution and we still are. Okay,
But then you want more fun, that's all I'm saying, construction season's here, everybody wants to build. So if we get through the process or somebody, let the process stop, so there's, you know what I mean, that's where it's not right.
a lot of things.
Why we can't work through the code changes, I get it. But why can't people submit for why, the way the code's written right now and go through the process and until it's changed, why do we have to stop everything? That's my.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Matt Grove, thank you.
I'm Sandy running for Road. Any information on when Pentel Crossing is gonna open and when Wood Drive's?
I'm getting to them when we were planning concerns versus we're talking about public hearing.
Oh.
Yeah, we get questions on that. All right, so at this time, I'm gonna close the public hearing. Thank you. Now we're at public concerns.
Yeah.
So, Pentel Crossing, so, part of the agreed, Wood Drive Bridge, we bid it. They had one bidder. Fisher Associates is our engineers of record. There's a resolution on tonight for me to sign a word recommendation letter that goes through Fisher Associates, the New York State DOT. They review everything in the bid document and all that. Hopefully they come back with a yes, and then we can award the bid. We already know that contractor will do very little work this year because the concrete structure of the new bridge will not be available until next year. So they may do some pile driving this year. We're hoping they relocate the water line that's out in front on County Road 41 right by the bridge. Like to see that put in, put in this year. And then next year, they'll actually do the majority of the bridge work. Until crossing, about 2 hours ago, I asked Ron to remind me to call our town attorney, to see where we're at with that. The developer that's putting up the townhomes now versus the apartments that are there are two separate owners. So those legal teams have had to work with our town attorney for the road dedication. Because the road that's existing, not the new piece, but the road that's existing there, a portion of that was private road. We're hoping that the two legal teams and satisfy our town attorney, and we've been saying this for 6 months, but I think we're closer. That, because we put the stop signs up there, is that, hopefully, if not the 28th this month, in May, we'll actually have the legal documents here for the town board to approve the road dedication. The highway superintendent signs the form same night. The next day, it's a public road. And then we will close Wood Drive Bridge.
Thank God.
So it's,
Yeah, man, thank you.
again, we're hoping the sign's gotta be changed out on 41. It's not gonna be Quintonshire anymore. You know, it's gonna be Pintail. That's kind of where we're at.
Because there was somebody else that went out the Wood Drive today. Well, I happened to get the license plate number and I plastered it on Facebook. So the person who owns to a 2017 Toyota Camry with the license plate, blah, blah, blah. I
Yeah,
guess you figure you're entitled to go the wrong way on a one-way, you know, on the bridge.
The last 2 weeks on Wednesday and Thursday mornings between 5:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, I've actually had a deputy there. And they at least wrote 4 tickets.
Good.
People coming out that way. We were trying to catch the garbage truck. And we didn't catch them. Oh, because they've been warned, so. Eric,
The safety of that Wood Street Bridge.
that's why it's only one lane.
Okay, but it's so scary to drive over it. I live in that development.
Don't drive over it then. I mean,
Or
332.
Safety of the people. I mean, your answer, that was a pretty jerk answer.
I'm being smart. It's,
In all seriousness, it's this unsafe bridge.
that's not true. Okay? It's been inspected by the New York State DOT.
How long?
Last year, we got a yellow flag on it. And they have told our engineer, Fisher Associates, what exactly to do. And that's why it's one lane in on the west side of the bridge.
Inspect it again, because I think the initial intent was to have that replaced or not usable much sooner than, I mean, this has been dragging. I understand that the town is trying to get it closed. But was the inspection taken into consideration that it's only gonna be one lane for 4 months, but here we are, 12 months, I don't even know how long now.
I'm just curious where it went.
It just seems to be getting worse, the pothole in it.
Well, we were there and fixed it this week. But yeah, it's, again, as soon as we get Intel open, it'll be closed.
Yeah, the night that I signed this here on the Tuesday night, I have the signs with Ontario County, and Ontario County will be coming out that Wednesday morning to switch the Quintonshire signs to Pintail Crossing signs. We will be out there with 2 separate crews, so that way we can erect the proper signage at Running Brook, Redfern, and Pintail. So that way they're all correct going up there, while another crew is over with a trailer and the backhoe and a couple extra concrete barriers that I got back in January or December of last year in anticipation of closing this down. We are ready. It's just, there's outside forces that I'm waiting on as the highway superintendent, but we're ready to go the moment this is moving forward.
Yeah, thanks. Any other public concerns? We have anybody online for public, we're right back. Anybody online at this time on public concerns? Okay, back at you. Good.
So, president in 1995, we've had ongoing concerns with sewage, drainage issues in the Mountain Ash area. And not a big complainer. Kind of kicking and screaming. But over the past 30 years, we've had ongoing issues with overrun sewage drainage on Mountain Ash in that area. Point sewage back up into my house. And we have run, submersible pumps in our back to keep the water out of my house. When we plugged one area, it started coming up in a tub, toilet, wash basin. But in order to keep it out of my house, at the destructive branch, we are opted to submersible.
There's a difference between water and sewer.
No, it's sewage.
It's sewage.
Well, then I'll just we'll go to the water and sewer.
And he was very, very kind.
Yeah, I know Josh, I know Josh spoke with you, and it's an issue that we've long been aware of,
Yeah,
and
over the years, we plugged one issue, it started coming up, but we're like, now we know where it comes, where we're gonna find it. But I'm getting older. And the worries of, oh my gosh, we're gonna get a really bad storm. Anybody gonna be home? Anybody gonna be able to rush home and check and make sure that we're not overrun? Call neighbors, hey, is the water in the culverts, no, yes, I can't do this anymore. And, I know, that if the stuff is getting older in this area, with all the construction that's been going on around here, I'm assuming we'll be placing things to bring us newer, hopefully.
Okay, just to clarify that, the water on the road in the gutters is storm drainage.
capacity,
It's-
space capacity.
Sewer is different. We have in that area, we do have what we call I&I problems.
So in the past, when we would call, they would say, oh, it's because of the restaurant, which used to be Denny's and a Chinese restaurant. Then they would say it was a blockage, and that was why it was backing up. We stopped calling, I would call 911, make sure, somebody would be right with it. The blockage or something going on. But
If you called the office, probably Karen answered the phone or Jennifer.
But in the nighttime, you just wanna make sure you get somebody, so sometimes I would leave a message, also call 911.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like to be in the lurch. But just in general, are we working on the infrastructure of the sewage, the drainage, wherever it's coming from? I don't know it all, I'm not pretending to know it all.
This is a capacity issue that I identified 10 years ago, before I was ever here.
I mean,
It's not something that, my staff, is delaying. We really need to be given the funding to have this engineered and have it upgraded. There's a significant amount of housing that's been added to that sewer since it was originally installed, and it needs to be upgraded. There's really no other option. There are what we call I&I, extraneous water getting into the sewer during storms. Yes, there is, but there is a gross undercapacity issue for that segment of sewer, essentially from Mountain Ash Drive back down to approximately County Road 41. It's several thousand feet of sewer that needs to be upgraded, and it's something that myself and my staff want done badly. But it is something that is not within the power of the water and sewer superintendent to act upon. I need the support of the elected officials to make that happen.
I am really love not for my house to smell of sewage. And we've done things inside our house to make changes, but we have one more change we can make, but it also scares us to death because we're like, if we make that change, where are we gonna find sewage? We know where it's coming in, we know where we're gonna find it, we know where to look, but is it gonna start coming up in the middle of my family room again? Where is it gonna go? So we have a raised ranch. So, the first time it happened, it came through the pipe that's in the middle of my family room. So, I talked to a plumber came, replaced the cap and did something with a special cap.
Mhm.
You know,
The-
my
there-
verbiage is not.
There is a solution that I would be happy to discuss with you. It's I would hesitate to call it an extreme measure, but it would be an odd measure. It is a measure that, that I've seen employed and recommended employed in some other communities in a previous career that I had. So please contact the office, set up a time. I'd be happy to come to the home and discuss with you some things that you could do, but it doesn't alleviate the issue that we do need to upgrade, you know, we do need to upgrade the sewer along Route 232.
The hours and until the starting of your next shift.
They were about 17 hours straight. Yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm here, I'm here, I'm not one of these people that is. So this is very hard for me to come and do this, so I'm here because I know that this needs to be addressed. I mean, I've been dealing with it since 1995, finally here, finally speaking out. So, just, it needs to be addressed because I know I'm not alone, in my area that has been dealing with.
Yeah, so from Mountain Ash down to about Terrace Apartments property line, it's really flat.
And because, and the people across the street from me, even during, you know, like, we have the higher table because of where our house sits, because we're on the north side of the street. We're the ones during storms that get hit the worst. The people across the street aren't as bad because they're just elevated enough.
Yeah.
We're on the downslide, so we are always hit the worst. So our sub pump never shuts off year round.
I can imagine.
So if there's a power outage, you can bet your bottom dollar that we are running a generator.
Yeah, again, that's water, that's not sewer, but
Correct, and I do know that.
one trick that maybe you haven't tried in the sump pump is just try raising it an inch or two and see if it runs less. Because some people have put them too deep in the well and it's the groundwater that's normally there.
Oh, yeah.
It's constantly moving.
Yeah, no, because we had it replaced because we did have it raised because it was a constant flow. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but just to keep during some of the storms, just to keep us level, we had two running. And if we shut them off, it would just, it would come to like way too, like, okay, yeah,
Close for-
we turned one off or even turn, you know, it was gonna go over the top. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're running both of the submersibles and it's more than in for cleaning that.
Yeah. Either one of them battery backup or
Yes, we have battery backup.
you just want to say, don't use water backup. Because if you're not home and they sick, you have a high water bill.
Yeah,
If you have time, stick around after the meeting. I'll take your number and I will contact you tomorrow and we can set up a time to meet in person and talk about a solution that I think would prevent
yeah.
the issue for now,
Funds. Yeah, we do.
while things get sorted out. So,
Thank you.
yes,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Anybody else? Anybody online one more time? Okay, we're gonna go to reports of standing committees, Public Works.
Yeah, Public Works, we met this morning at 7 o'clock. Had updates from water and sewer, highway and parks. I'll start with water and sewer. Got a fair amount of things here. I'm not gonna say them all, but that because of the rain event on 331, they had some overflow on 96 across from Phoenix Mill Plaza. They installed new raceway skimmers in the final clarifier #2. Had to put some new rope seal on the packing to complete the installation. The primary clarifier scum pit pump burned out and they had to put a new pump into and had that installed. They're back to haul in 3 days, 2 loads a week of sludge. We We talked about the, temporary repairs that were made on the, North Grid, slide phone. The ongoing pump station maintenance, various pump stations around the system are worked on, and they look online and see the individual, pump stations they worked on. PS 26, that was struck by a car, and we have a police report now, and we're working on the cost estimates, to send into their insurance companies. Let's see, Barcom June Rise Sewer Access Road is near completion, may be completed, may have finished it today, I don't know. PS 14 Cobblestone, they had to replace a pump, number one impeller. Troubleshooting, no water issue in Farmbrook, Meadowbrook and Alfalfa. They were out, checking the PRV valves and vaults around town and checking to make sure all the valves all work. They investigated some water leaks on Dalton Drive. The annual quality, water quality report is complete and being reviewed. Water and sewer staff in the town highway, were out flushing storm piping with the back truck. They repaired a manhole on 96, that was, part of the sewer overflow. They repaired a list in the spring, 26 restoration of water and sewer repair, evacuation, excavations, they're getting ready to clean them up and seed them. The staff also attended the Ontario County, Safety Training Refresher. They had a low, water pressure issue on Cranberry Drive. Also investigated suspected, water service leak on Klein Road. We also discussed manhole issues on Loomis Park. That's part of Villagers, project. And they had an issue with the, vac truck. It had some valve issues we talked about this morning. There's 3 resolutions they have on tonight. We can talk about if we need to it when it come up. Highway, they've got ongoing equipment maintenance. They're replacing failing drainage pipes, cleaning out ditches, a lot of tree trimming and picking up fallen trees. They're hauling in stone for the summer road projects. They're repaired to wash out for heavy rainfall. Let's see, we discussed the auction options this morning. There's 2 resolutions, for them. We can talk about them if we need to when they come up. Parks, they're all pulling up the plow stakes. They took the sanders off the trucks. They checked the trails for down trees and trash. They're starting to put the tables out in the parks. They're doing field setups. They repainted the yellow lines in the highway bay at the highway. Mowing obviously is gonna start before we know it. And that's all I have for them. That's it, Peter, that's all I got.
Thanks. On operations.
Operations met this morning. Farmington Meadows submitted a revised preliminary site plan. That's gonna be reviewed by the planning board on, looks like they have a pretty busy meeting on May 6th. Fish, large, scale ground mounted solar, as well as the Dimension solar project, they both submitted, more information that the town had requested. That's being reviewed by town staff, and both of those are potentially gonna be reviewed at the May 6th meeting as well. The Farmington Fire Station project, the Ontario County Planning Board, completed their review of the 2 area variances for signs, but they recommended denial of both. Zoning Board of Appeals is considering the Fire Association's application at their April 27th meeting. And preliminary site plan and special use permit is also scheduled for the May 6th planning board meeting. The Town Environmental Conservation Board, last Saturday on the 11th, their annual spring cleanup along Route 332. They collected 16 large bags of trash for that section of the road. And zoning board of appeals, their next meeting is scheduled for April 27th, and they have 4 public hearings scheduled for that meeting.
Yeah, just between Town Line Road and County Road 41, that many bags of trash.
It was really gross. I was there. You needed more volunteers.
Okay, reports of other town officials, supervisor, we already talked about Wood Drive Bridge. The only thing I'll add is the completion date would be late summer of next year. Cybersecurity update, New York State has changed the requirements for training and IT operation procedures. I'm working with our current contractor to update our policies and procedures, and we will end up replacing some of our equipment here at Town Hall and the Highway Garage, meet the current IT standards, and the water and sewer folks have already gone through their mandatory training. I did see an email today. They have another date if anybody else wants to take it.
Yeah. Josh and I might sit through it.
Parks, we've done discussion, Farmbrook and Grove Parks buildings. Going to make them handicap accessible, new fixtures, new doors were required, storeroom updates. Farmbrook, especially the outside of the one side of the building. Take a look at that. So those will be designed this fall, put out to bid. So it's like a winter project. They're not being used to begin with. Victor Farmington Ambulance. I get a monthly report from. They get an increase of 28 calls in the month of March over 2025. From January 1 to April 1st, just in Farmington, they've had 398 calls. 3 months. They're very busy. And check our town ops report that we post on the website. We got pictures in there, the addition to the building right here at County Road 896 for their 3 bays, future use for the ambulance building. Our Ontario County Sheriff's Enhanced Law Enforcement, we contract with them every year. March, they did 51 traffic stops with 39 citations. This is over and above any tickets that are wrote by New York State troopers or the sheriff officers regularly. The enhanced crew is retirees that we hire after Canandaigua and I believe Bristol. Hire retirees for additional coverage in the town for law enforcement. Local law number 3, we're having a resolution for that tonight, to set a public hearing on April 28th. That's a law directed at restricting the use of mopeds, bikes, golf carts, and the like. So we expect a lot of people in the town hall on the 28th. Get that message out for a bunch of different formats. In Ontario County Board of Supervisors meeting is this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. I'll be attending. Please look at the Ontario County website. They have a draft local solid waste management plan. Be sure to provide your comments as soon as possible. That window will close. And that you can find that under the Department of Sustainability and Solid Waste Management. And that's all I have. Highway.
So the update that I have is in regards to Ladding Road. We intended to do it 2 weeks ago. And then Mother Nature decided to absolutely soak the area. So the pipe that is being replaced a creek runs through it. So with the high elevations, we were unable to cut up the road and replace that pipe. The dig safe had expired because it's a 10-day window. It was re-updated yesterday, and we are going to be out there Monday to evaluate the situation after tonight's rainfall and then the water subsiding over the weekend. So that's the update on that. So we'll be back out there.
On Kennedy.
Correct, yep. Jim Fletcher, the Town of Canandaigua Highway Superintendent, and I will be out there Monday morning to make sure that the water level is sufficient enough to operate in. And then the, we're trying to attack it next week as long as the weather, the rain holds off. It can be sprinkling, that's fine, but 2 weeks ago's water was too much to operate in. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Park Department, Victor Little League, starting to use our ball fields and the new back fence area for field one at the Grove will be starting tomorrow for installation there. Clerk.
Yes, so last, Tuesday the 7th, I did settle the town and county taxes for the county treasurer. Tomorrow we do have a county association tax collector meeting to go over the issues that any of us had. Next Thursday, the 23rd, the auditors will be here to do our 2025 town clerk and town tax collector accounts. And next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will be at our state town clerk conference and audit. That's it.
Thank you. Water and sewer.
Yeah, obviously we've beaten to death the rain on 3/31, on March 31st. But in general, we've been receiving a lot of calls from residents. It's been a very wet spring. We have a lot of folks that have sump pumps running, and we're generating a lot of calls into all departments, follow up and try to figure out what's going on. In a lot of cases, residents are concerned that it might be a water service or a water main break. Please realize that when these things happen, it is massive amounts of water that don't stay in the ground. They show up on the surface. We're talking thousands of gallons a minute are lost when we have those types of events. So not that we're not willing to respond to your calls, but please give a little bit of thought to when we have a major rain break, that it is a disastrous event, and it's certainly not going to be something that's causing your sump pump to run. It will for the time that it's breaking, but you'll also have another indicator that it's something wrong with our water system. That said, we're still willing to come out and respond and do our due diligence to verify that it's not an issue of ours in your area. But please, give a little bit of thought to, before you place that call. Wanted to return back to something that we touched on. We were getting the website presentation. We talked about notifications in emergency situations. Something that we desperately need all residents to do is to make sure that your information is updated with, I'll speak for myself, with water and sewer. If we don't have a current phone number or a current email that we can get to you with, or we have an old one on file, please realize that you limit our options for being able to get in touch with you in an emergency situation. So it'd be a call for me to the public that if you have any question of whether your information is updated with us, please call the water and sewer office, check and make sure that we have a right phone number and a good email, or however you prefer to be contacted, on file, so that when we can roll out and use this new notification module, we have good information to get to you, and get the information to you as quickly as possible. Ron mentioned that we were working on Bark and Dune Rise. That's a sewer access trail in the town of Victor, since we are also the town of Victor's sewer department. We did not finish today. We had a small excavator fire this afternoon. We have located the issue in the machine and repaired it, and we'll be back to it tomorrow. We should finish tomorrow, and then we will begin the spring restorations that Ron mentioned. So if there's anyone here at the meeting or listening online, if you had a water break over the late fall or the winter, or here in the early spring, we will be coming to get things restored, topsoiled, seeded, where necessary, repair asphalt that we may have damaged. That'll be happening over the next several weeks. So please be patient. We're on the way. It's finally time for us to get that work done. Beyond that, we've just been working diligently with our engineers on an upgrade project at our wastewater treatment plant, figuring out project scope, making some equipment selections, and then getting things prepared to apply for grants to help us with the cost of that project. And that's what I got.
Great,
Thank you.
thanks. Building and zoning.
So I have our numbers from March. We completed 97 inspections. We issued 58 building permits, and we completed 11 building safety inspections. That being said, this first 2 weeks of April, we've seen quite an increase in our building permits and our
inspection, so we're thinking the summer's getting close. We're getting excited for the warm weather. All I got.
Thanks. Planning board, Ed.
Currently, we have two continued public hearings, Farmington Meadows preliminary subdivision and preliminary site plan, as well as the the Farmington Volunteer Fire Association, their preliminary site plan and special use permit. We have a new public hearing, the Bellis application for the accessory structure. We have a public action item of the Hollanders final site plan application, construction of a single family residence, as well as a letter that we're reviewing. Then we reviewed the Diamond Acres planned unit development in the town of Canandaigua, which is right there on Farmington Downline Road and 332. And we're providing some comments back to them, so we'll review the letter that was drafted and go from there. That's it.
Thanks, Ed.
Yep.
Ron, Director of Planning and Development.
Yeah, all I have is the town ops report was posted today on the town website, distributed to over 60 people who have signed up for it every 2 weeks. If you are interested in the town and you want it kept up to date, please let me know and I'll add you to the distribution list. Other than that, we're looking forward to continuing work on the accessory structures with town staff. And all I can say, Ed, is May 6th is bring your sleeping bag. It's going to be a long meeting.
Figure that.
No town engineer tonight. He's up in Saratoga Springs. The assessor's not here tonight. Historian, just everybody a reminder that Anna Arundine is retired at the end of the month, and we have a resolution to appoint Aaron O'Brien, Farmington resident, as our next historian. Recreation newsletter was out. The summer recreation sign up is in that newsletter. You're going to need more than one page per student signed up, and also they had posted out that they're still looking for some summer hire helps to help them with the recreation program. Contact Mark Kane. Agriculture Advisory Committee, Hal, anything?
Ag Committee will be meeting this Thursday, 6:30 here.
All right, thank you. Finance on the side, I just put on the agenda that the town board actually has a meeting in this room, 8:30 next Tuesday morning. Communications are on file. Reports, minutes are on file. Resolution. Number one is a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign intermunicipal agreements for the municipal separate storm sewer system MS4 inspection services with the town of Canandaigua. First my name, by Ron. On that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Two is a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign the geotechnical services proposal with foundation design and a cost not to exceed $8,550.
So moved.
Second.
My Arby, second my name. Any questions on that? As for testing on Hook Road, we want to put a new water line in by the third part. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Three is a resolution authorizing replacement of explosion-proof unit heaters for the influent building at the wastewater treatment plant. The cost not to exceed $30,095.49.
Second.
Aubrey, again, very expensive. Heaters, only 2 heaters for that price. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
More expensive, they blow up.
Yeah, it is.
No. They don't blow up.
Or resolution authorizing the purchase of Badger meters and endpoints at a cost not to exceed $58,616.85.
Oh, second.
What's my name? Mr. Ryan. Again, this is another batch of new meters. This 55, 5/8 3/4 inch, 35 inch, and 150. All All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution establishing the penalty date for all unpaid 2026 first quarter accounts located within the Canada Farmington Water District, and Victor Sewer District for May 1st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Aubrey, second by Nate. Any questions there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Six, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign a proposal for professional services from Labella, the Farmington Volunteer Fire Association Station Two improvements at a rate not to exceed $10,000. So moved.
Second.
By Ron, second by Aubrey. Again, we're hiring Bella to oversee the Station Two project because MRB is contracted with the fire department. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seven's a resolution accepting the draft local law number 3, creating a new chapter 77, Farmington Town Code entitled bicycles with electric assist, electric scooters, go-karts, golf carts, and limited use motorcycles, classifying the action under the State Environmental Quality Review secret regulations as a type 2 action, and scheduling a public hearing upon the adoption of said local law at a meeting scheduled for Tuesday evening, April 28, 2026, to provide public notice and provide as provided for under the town's open meeting law procedure. My name's Ron. We've run our draft, first to other municipalities. We ran our draft twice by the Ontario County Sheriff's Office and once by New York State Troopers here in Troop D. And also the town attorneys looked at that twice. They're good to go. We'd be glad to explain it to everybody on the 28th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8 is resolution appointing Aaron O'Brien as the town historian effective May 1st, 2026.
Moved.
Second.
My Aubrey, second my Nate. And she's gonna do a great job for us. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 9 is a resolution approving the annual agreement with Federal Security cost not to exceed $6,488.52.
Second.
Commissioner Ryan, second by Aubrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 10 is a resolution authorizing equipment to be declared surplus or may be disposed of and or discarded. And this is the water and sewer department.
So moved.
Motion by Nate, second by Ron. Next period, the departments at trucks going to auction, have resolutions. Better names. All in favor? Aye. 11 is resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign an agreement with Atlantic Testing Laboratories for core pavement and subsurface exploration services on Fleck Road and cost not to exceed $7,285. So,
Second.
motion by Ron, second by Aubrey. Again, this is required and asked for by the highway superintendent. We plan on rebuilding part of that road, but it may not, in some cases, we may not have a good base, and we want to find that out by these core tests. May require more of a major work on the road than just a repavement. Questions? All in favor? Aye. Also, a resolution establishing a standard workday and reporting schedule for New York State return.
Second.
Motion by Nate, second by Arlen. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Actually, the Sports Councilman Guilfoyle's on the line now. But Nate, right?
I see.
It was, now it's. It's gone. Okay, sorry, I thought this, for a while there, I saw him online. 12 is a resolution staff, we did that one. 13, resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign a award documentation letter to the New York State DOT for the Wood Drive Bridge Capital Project. So moved.
Second.
Ron, second by Arvin. Questions there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 14 is the abstract to Number 7, to pay the bills. General fund, $114,592.09. Highway fund, $14,868.64. Wood Drive capital project, $4,865.31. Storm drainage, $1,049.45. Lighting district, $2,608.46. Sewer district, $97,403.31. Water district, $495,859.66. Payroll deductions, $20.48. Total abstract, $731,000. My name is Lolly. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Also on the agenda, at the top of page 4, we had to list our top 3 vendors for this pay period. Eastern Shore is our insurance carrier. Smith's Wholesale is our water meter supplies company. And the $61,398.40 for grassland equipment is a Parks mower. No trading under $100. Is there any objections from the town board for waiver of the rule? Hearing none, we have 3 waivers of the rule tonight. Resolution, first one, resolution appointing the town supervisor to sign the Rochester Institute of Technology and New York State Pollution Prevention Institute Research Agreement. First by Arby, second by Ron. That's been going on since the first year. Basically, what we're gonna do is give Rochester Institute of Technology samples of our sludge, and they're gonna run it through 3 different test procedures to see if they can come up with a product to actually sell the sludge. As a one item is a high temp procedure that they may use the rate box. There's no cost to the town. We're glad to participate on that. See what happens. As we know, our landfill is closed in 2028, and that's where our sludge currently is. Got a motion in a second today? All in favor? Aye. Number 2, resolution authorizing adoption of local law 2/2026, establishing a 6-month moratorium on accessory structures as defined in chapter 165 Town Code, Town of Farmington, and directing the filing thereof in New York State Secretary of State Corporation, State Records, and UCC. Motion by Nate, second by Ron. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You. 3 is a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign a quote Pacific Plus for the town website redesign, cost not to exceed $27,607.10. And that's for the first year, doesn't include annual services thereafter. Motion? All right. Second by Nate. Any comments there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Want to have an executive session tonight? Before adjournment, our next meetings are April 28th. Public work 7 a.m., on operation 9 p.m., and next town board meeting at 7 p.m. Any final comments from the residents and concerns?
We need to approve the minutes. Skipped over it.
Is it even on here?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Approval of minutes for March 24th. Any second by Arby, any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Sean?
Do you know a time frame on when the new site would be up? Would it be like a
6
couple of months?
6 months.
Okay.
Hopefully 4.
So some by fall-ish?
Yeah. Well, April 6 to 10, so yeah. Both.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, I think the motion to adjourn. Motion by Nate, second by Arby, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there. We appreciate it.